Hello everyone and welcome to the series finale of the Search for the Worst Cartoon, a series where I try to find the worst cartoon ever made because trust me, it's not Teen Titans Go. Yes, you heard me right, series finale. I'm sorry, this is the last episode I can make because, oh boy, I think I might have found it, guys. I think I might have found it. Listen, I'm sure Velma is terrible. I'm sure Ren and Stimpy's whatever is terrible. I'm sure those are terrible. There is no way it can get worse than this. There is no way it can get worse than this. Y'all voted for this, okay? I hope you realize that. This is your fault. This is blood on your hands. What I'm gonna have to look at today. Oh my god, after two admittedly underwhelming episodes, it's like now we have an absolute doozy of a cartoon to look at here. Something absolutely irredeemable. Every other cartoon I've looked at in this series so far, there's at least a few positive things I could say about them. This, nothing. Nothing at all. So let's talk about it a bit. You guys remember when NFTs were a thing? Yeah, they were. NFTs are basically these ugly drawings of like monkeys. Well, sometimes they could be for other things, but most of the time they're these ugly like monkey drawings, ape drawings, whatever, and they're like really bad for the environment. I'm going to admit that I don't know exactly why they're bad for the environment, and I'm too lazy to look up why they're bad for the environment, but they're bad for the environment, and even if they weren't bad for the environment, they still look ugly, so like it doesn't matter. They're still garbage even if they didn't harm the environment. NFTs are a part of cryptocurrency, which is another thing that I know next to nothing about because I'm not a nerd, and that's basically it. That's all the knowledge you're gonna get of crypto and Bitcoin and all that stuff. NFTs, that's all the knowledge you're gonna get. There's your history lesson from me, okay? Throughout 2021, NFTs have gotten a very awful reputation online, but as time went on, NFTs started to die down, and you basically just never see anyone like acknowledge them anymore. They are nowhere near as big as they were in 2021, which is a good thing. And that leads me to my next point. In late 2021, an NFT cartoon was released. Yes, an NFT cartoon. A cartoon featuring NFTs. A cartoon that was released as an NFT. This is the Red Ape Family. This came out in late 2021, and it is... words cannot even begin to describe this thing. My god. A few things that I would like to note. Number one, this is currently the shortest cartoon I've looked at in this series so far. Only 3 episodes have been made of this thing. 3 episodes. And that's it. And the weirdest thing as well is that every episode, there's a really long gap between the episode releases for some reason. Episode 1 came out in November of 2021. Episode 2 came out in April of 2022. And episode 3 came out in May of 2023. I have no idea why it takes so long for these episodes to come out, but whatever. That is beside the point. That is the least of my problems when it comes to this thing. It's also worth noting that this is the first Search for the Worst cartoon to be on an ongoing series. A cartoon that is still going on, assuming we get a 4th episode in 2024. Every other cartoon I've looked at has either been cancelled or it was never intended to get a 2nd season, or it just disappeared with no explanation. So you might be thinking, okay, this can't be that bad. It's only 3 episodes. How bad could it be? Oh, it's something, alright. It is definitely something. I'm just gonna say this right now. The Red Ape Family might be the worst cartoon ever made. Not the worst cartoon I've ever seen. The worst cartoon ever made. I cannot imagine it getting any worse than the Red Ape Family. I can't even begin to describe why this is terrible. This might be the hardest video I've ever had to make, not just for the Search for the Worst cartoon, but just in general, making videos. Because I am so flabbergasted at the quality of this thing. This could be a perfect counterclaim to the whole animation is art thing. This is something else, okay? This is, oh my god. Even if this wasn't related to NFTs, even if like this had no connection to NFTs, or like NFTs weren't bad for the environment, even then, this is still abominable. It's only 3 episodes long, and they are some of the most painful episodes you will ever sit through. I have to rewatch episodes of this thing in order to, like, write down notes, I initially watch the episode, and then, like, I record a little bit of dialogue, and then eventually, when it's time to, like, describe the episodes and what happens in them, I have to rewatch the episodes and, like, make notes and do all that stuff. This is something that I am physically unable to do for this show. Not only is it near damn impossible to describe everything that's wrong with this thing, but it's also near damn impossible to even describe what happens in this show. What is this show about? What is the plot of this show? Of the 3 episodes, episode 2 is the only one that has a fairly understandable plot. Episodes 1 and 3 are just... I cannot understand what happens in them. I cannot even comprehend what happens in these episodes. And the most ironic thing about this is that episode 2 is easily the worst of the 3 episodes. Yes, that's right. The only one of the 3 episodes that actually has like an understandable, comprehensible plot is also the worst of the 3 episodes. That is the level of quality we're dealing with here, folks. I'm just saying, y'all voted for this. Y'all could have voted. There were 3 other cartoons that y'all could have chosen instead. You chose this. This is blood on your hands. I hope you realize that. Alright, y'all. I think I've delayed the inevitable long enough, and now it is time for me to sit down and try and explain the Red Ape Family and what happens in it. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to like, and if you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing, as it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And with that said, let us dive in to the first episode. The first episode begins with the titular Red Ape family flying off from one planet to another planet. We then cut to a flashback scene from 2 days earlier, where Chucky, the main character of the series, and the only character whose name I could actually be bothered to remember, is sneaking into a museum. While sneaking through, you can see just how much care was put into this entire project, There really was a lot of dedication and passion put into this entire series, and it's just an absolutely beautiful thing to see, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, Chucky finds what initially seems to be a bar of gold before a group of RoboCop lookalikes with RoboDogs appear. I don't know either. I don't know. Maybe this show is set in the future. I have no idea, okay? This is never explained at all in the show. We then get what is probably the best running animation I have ever seen in any cartoon ever. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I wish this show had more stuff like this running animation and the detective misspelling in it, because I could actually easily see this being a funny bad cartoon. It's instead of being the worst thing ever made, This could have been a funny bad cartoon. This could have been something that's garbage, but at least I would have a fun time watching it and just making fun of how bad it is, Anyways, Chucky escapes the museum, returns home, and shows what he stole to his wife. It turns out that what Chucky stole is a USB drive that contains the most valuable NFT in the world. The RoboCop lookalikes find the family, which prompts them to fly off to another planet. We then get a random cameo appearance from Laurel and Hardy, an old famous comedy duo. I have no idea why they're here. I don't know what Laurel and Hardy have to do with NFTs or anything even remotely related to cryptocurrency. They're just here because it's random, and as we all know, random equals funny. The flashback ends as we cut to the family in line with a bunch of other random characters that I presume are also NFTs. Donald Trump being one of them, because again, random equals funny. It's worth noting that in addition to Chucky, his wife, their 2 sons, and their dog, there's also a lion doctor thing that's just part of the family for some reason. This is something that is never explained in this episode or in either of the 2 succeeding episodes, and I don't think it will ever be explained if this show gets more episodes. Hopefully it doesn't. There's also a talking skull with them, and again, it's never explained who this character is or why they are with the family. Literally nothing is explained in this. The episode ends with 2 other apes spying on the family. Who are these apes? Why are they spying on the family? I don't know. Again, it is never explained. I also love how abrupt the ending of this episode is. For this video, I'm trying to show as little footage of the cartoon as possible, not only to prevent potential copyright issues, but also because of the whole thing where, like, you know, you take screenshots of NFTs, and so I thought it would be funny to take screenshots of this instead of showing footage of it, you know? But I'm gonna make another exception here, and I swear to you, I did not edit this in any way. This is actually how the episode ends. The only edit that I made was I muted the end credits as it contains a potentially copyrighted song. Other than that, I've done nothing. I did not edit this at all. This is actually how the episode ends.
Let me see. What's happening out there?
There is at least 4 apes out there, mi amor.
No way.
We cannot let them all in, surely. But if we do, they can hang around. Get it?
You're kidding, mate. Here, give me that. Hey, neighbours. Who the hell are ya?
I don't know if it's because it's significantly shorter than the other 2 episodes, but episode 1 is easily the least bad of the 3 episodes, and that's saying a lot. Upon re-watching the episode numerous times, God help my soul, I am somewhat able to understand the plot, but stuff like the random Laurel and Hardy cameo and the unexplained other members of the Red Ape family make it really hard to comprehend what's going on. It's just things happen and they're not explained why they happen. It's not explained like why are these characters with the Red Ape family. Nothing is explained at all. The fact that this is the least bad of the 3 episodes should really set off some alarms in your head. Trust me, it gets way worse from here on out. Episode 2 is almost 20 minutes long, and as stated before, it is easily the worst of the 3 episodes. God help us all. Episode 2 begins with a flashback of the first episode's events, before cutting to a collage of videos criticizing the show. There's then a cameo of Jake Paul, for some reason, followed by whoever the f*** these are supposed to be, and then we get 2 elderly red apes, which are not explained at all, and then it turns out that this was all a nightmare that Chucky had. What then follows is a problem that is especially present in the latter 2 episodes of the show.
Jesus, it was awful. We were in a universe where we had no backstory or character arcs, and you had a British accent.
What's wrong with that?
People hated it. I saw another universe too, royally by the way, creatures called trolls, who were trapped in a thing called YouTube.
Poor things.
No, they were virgins making reaction videos in their mother's basements, all talking about how we are.
Ah yes, not taking criticism. Roasting the haters, if you will. What a certified epic thing to do, am I right, guys? Now, some of you could say that this is an intentionally bad cartoon, and that the creators of this put this into the show because they knew that it would piss people off, and that by bringing it up here, and actually by extension making this entire video, I am taking the bait and falling into their trap. I am doing what they wanted me to do. On the one hand, that is a very plausible theory, but on the other hand, I feel like that isn't 100% the case. Episodes 2 and 3 feel like they were made to intentionally piss off detractors, but episode 1 feels serious. Episode 1 doesn't have that, yeah, we're gonna make a cartoon that's intentionally bad, and we know it'll get a lot of hate from people on the internet vibe that episodes 2 and 3 have. I truly believe that the creators of this garbage were being completely serious with the first episode, and then due to the backlash they received from it, they decided to disguise every future episode as being quote-unquote intentionally bad, and that includes cheap references to the people that criticized the first episode. Anyways, we then cut to a bar where I will give the second and third episodes a very, very, very tiny bit of credit. The animation in the second and third episodes, although still not very good, are slightly better than in the first episode. In the first episode, the animation is absolutely awful. The mouth movements of the characters look so f***ing terrible, and they are extremely distracting and hard to not notice, making the already hard to understand plot even harder to understand. In the second and third episodes, the animation is slightly better, and as much as I hate to admit it, considering the subject matter of this show, there are extremely rare instances where it actually looks kinda decent, but for the most part, the animation still looks bad, and the consistently terrible art style doesn't help either. Yes, I'm a cartoon YouTuber that actually knows the difference between animation and art style. We exist. So we then cut to one of the Red Ape sons hanging out with this big pink ape. As the family arrives and confronts the pink ape, he warns them that the golden NFT they stole will have everyone hunting them. We then cut to a bathroom door with another typo on it, this time intentional, referring to it as a meme typo. This is definitely a reference to the detected typo that was in the first episode, and it only further strengthens my theory that the first episode was made with serious intentions, but the second and third episodes were made to be quote-unquote intentionally bad. They're in on the joke. They're self-aware that this is a bad show. Basically the Birdemic 2 approach. Make something that's so bad it's good, or in this case, something offensively bad with serious intentions, and then follow it up with something that's self-aware that it's bad. That's definitely not going to make this even worse than it already is. Totally not. Anyways, in the bathroom, the lion doctor is trying to hypnotize itself. I guess he has hypnotizing powers now. This was something that was not hinted at all before this, but whatever. Outside the bar, you have the white ape couple from the end of the previous episode, who I guess just so happened to work at the bar. The female mentions how the Red Ape family have the golden NFT, which they didn't know about beforehand, which only makes it even more confusing as to why they were spying on the family in the first episode. The male claims that he no longer lives that life and doesn't want anything to do with NFTs, which is again something that wasn't elaborated on before. I don't know about you guys, but when these two appeared in the first episode, nothing about them screamed, I think these two have an interest in NFTs. The Red Ape family leave the bar, the two sons get into an argument of sorts, and one of them leaves while the others go into an elevator back home. I love how not a single one of the family members questions where the son is going or leave the elevator to get him. It's just quality story writing right there. The kid walks away depressed before getting ambushed by the two white apes, and then Laurel and Hardy show up again, and it turns out that they are working with the giant pink ape, because of course they are. Also, in the previous episode, Laurel and Hardy noticed the Red Ape family escaping the planet that they were on, so how and why are they now on the same planet that they were residing in, if it was implied that they were on a different planet? I'm just so confused right now, okay? It never ends with this thing, okay? It never ends. The giant pink ape ends up kidnapping the Red Ape's son. Back home, the Red Ape family receive a message from Dr. Jeeves, the main antagonist of the show, and the only other character whose name I can remember. The lion and the skull point out that Dr. Jeeves steals all kinds of NFTs. This is supposed to be the first time the family meets Dr. Jeeves, so how they know any of this is, surprise, surprise, never explained. Dr. Jeeves explains that he has kidnapped the Red Ape's son, and that if he doesn't get the golden NFT from them, their son will die. After that, we get a brief diss at Saberspark, another cartoon YouTuber who had made several videos on the Red Ape family, and this is meant to be some kind of epic roast. I don't know, honestly. Listen, man, I'm tired and I really want to get this done with, okay? We then cut to the family flying to rescue their son. They arrive at an auction ready to confront Dr. Jeeves. Dr. Jeeves is holding a presentation with the kidnapped son, showing off a remote that could turn any living being into an NFT, and he plans to use it on the son. The family then ambush the place as they fight off the security, who are a bunch of blue cats for some reason. You know, I just realized something. If by some chance you went into this, like you stumbled upon this show without knowing a single thing about NFTs, you would have no idea what the is going on. This is all stuff that would only make sense to a very, very niche group of people. Anyways, the family all throw cucumbers at the cats, which scares them away for some reason. What the is this show? Seriously, like, what is happening in this? Why the what is this thing for real? Eventually, Dr. Jeeves summons what he claims to be his most dangerous NFT, which is, and I really wish I was kidding about this, a baby version of Elon Musk. One of the sons throws a Bitcoin at baby Elon, and just as Chucky starts to escape, baby Elon is suddenly able to talk because of the Bitcoin, claiming that it freed him. He gives Chucky a mushroom, telling him that it will quote-unquote reveal his origin and show him his true path. And it is then revealed that Dr. Jeeves somehow managed to get the golden NFT from the family. As the episode comes to an end, Chucky's wife tells him to throw the mushroom away. However, secretly, he eats the mushroom. We then get the only scene in the entire show that actually has good animation and a good art style. Chucky gets a vision of the Robocops and Robo-Dogs from the first episodes attacking a village of apes. A family sends their child away to safety before becoming the golden NFT, I think, and then being eaten by a fish. And the hallucination ends, and by extension, the episode as a whole finally comes to an end as well. Episode 2 is, as stated before, the worst of the 3 episodes, bar none. It is also the longest of the 3 episodes, and the only one to have an actually sort of comprehensible storyline. So do what you will with that information. It took me at least an hour to write down the script for this part of the video, because there is so much stuff wrong with this episode. Almost every issue that I have with this show is present in this episode alone, and if more episodes of this garbage ever get made, I can only hope that none of them, not a single one of them, come close to being as bad as this episode. With that said, let us move on to the third and hopefully last episode of the Red Ape Family. The final episode begins with Chucky's wife asking why he stole the golden NFT in the first place, and it's revealed that he was sent out by an anonymous individual to steal it. It is also hinted that in addition to baby Elon, there are also baby versions of other billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates. Guys, listen to me, okay? I know this is painful, but listen, this is the final episode, and should a 4th episode ever be released, I will not make a follow-up video discussing it. We will get through this, I promise. Anyways, it turns out that baby Zuckerberg, God, I feel like an idiot just talking about this thing right now, has taken over Earth with his cyborgs in order to find the family. The Lion Doctor pulls up a documentary on the quote-unquote war on Earth and selects Morgan Freeman as the narrator. I have no idea if they got an impersonator to voice Morgan Freeman or if it's one of those AI voice things, but I genuinely wouldn't be surprised at all if it was the latter.
For eons, they all continued to pass on their knowledge to their clones. Clones that exist even until today. Just think of Baby Zuck as Darth Vader, Baby Gates as Emperor Palpatine, and Dr. Jeeves as, well, Jabba the Hutt.
Anyways, this great war on Earth consisted of 4 baby versions of billionaires. On one side, you have baby Jeff Bezos and baby Elon Musk, and on the other side, baby Mark Zuckerberg and baby Bill Gates. Of the 4, baby Zuckerberg was the only one to win the war on Earth. There's a bunch of other stuff that I am not going to talk about at all, because the last thing I want to do with my life right now is talk about Red Ape Family lore. So as it turns out, the family is now moving away again because they're being tracked down, I guess. Baby Elon then contacts Chucky telepathically and tells him that Dr. Jeeves has captured him again. We get another shot of this show owning the haters, and guys, I can't do this anymore. This is too much for me. Episode 3 is a nothing burger episode, which is somewhat of a good thing considering how disastrous episode 2 is, but still, it's just, there is nothing in this episode that's worth talking about. I will just be repeating the same stuff that I've said on the first 2 episodes. It's just, there is nothing to say at all. You know, when I was about to go into this thing, I had one question in my head. Would this still be a terrible cartoon if it wasn't related to NFTs? Like, how bad would it be still if it wasn't related to NFTs? Or if NFTs weren't bad for the environment? I went into the Red Ape Family thinking that the only bad thing about it would be that it's about NFTs, and that's it. As it turns out, there is so much wrong with this entire thing. Nothing in this show works. Nothing at all. This would still be the worst cartoon I've looked at on this series, even if it wasn't related to NFTs, or NFTs weren't bad for the environment. Easily. This is only 3 episodes long. This is the shortest cartoon I've looked at in this series so far. But it is also the hardest show that I've ever had to sit through on this series. There are extremely rare instances where this could be a funny bad show, but it's just, for the most part, it is just so hard to sift through this thing. I can't even talk about any of this stuff, you know, golden NFT, baby Elon Musk. I feel like a idiot right now. Like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing? It is genuinely really hard for me to sit through this thing, and I cannot go on anymore. I'm sorry. You want to know how bad episode 3 is? Watch it yourself. Or maybe, like, just, I'm sure there's like a YouTube video talking about it somewhere. But I cannot be bothered to talk about it. I cannot. I don't care if it's the final episode. I don't care if we already got the worst out of the way. The worst of the worst out of the way, at least. And now we're entering slightly less worse territory. I don't care at all. I'm done. The Red Ape Family is easily the worst cartoon I've looked at in this series so far, and it could very easily be the worst cartoon ever made. I cannot see it getting any worse than the Red Ape Family. There is no way that, like, Velma or whatever is worse than this. There is actually no f***ing way. I refuse to believe that. I knew at some point Lil Sam and Cat would be dethroned as the worst cartoon I've looked at in this series so far, and here it is now. It's officially been dethroned. There are tons of other cartoons that I have planned to look at on this series, because you never know. There could always be something worse than the Red Ape Family. It is possible. It is very unlikely, but it is possible that there is a cartoon worse than the Red Ape Family. This cartoon made me angry. Like, I genuinely got angry watching this. I never felt this way with any of the previous cartoons that I've looked at in this series. Not even something like Control-Alt-Delete didn't even make me angry, you know? Control-Alt-Delete is not good at all, but, like, what makes Control-Alt-Delete different from this is that a lot of the questionable writing and whatnot in it could just come off from it being a very incompetent, poorly made cartoon. Whereas with this, it's just, nothing makes any sense at all. It is just genuinely baffling to me. I don't doubt the possibility that there are other NFT cartoons out there, other, like, crypto-based cartoons. I'm not gonna look at them. Red Ape Family is enough, okay? I will review a million Family Guy clones on this channel before I ever review another NFT cartoon. I genuinely hate this show. It is awful. If the Red Ape Family isn't the worst cartoon ever made, I'm not sure I want to know what is. But it cannot be Velma. It cannot be Ren and Stimpy's whatever. It cannot be any of those. I'm sorry. So anyways, that's about it. I know this is a bit of a long video, but man, I had a lot of stuff to say about this thing. So yeah, I was not prepared for how bad this thing was gonna be. So yeah, there's that. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to like, and if you're new to this channel, maybe consider subscribing, as it would be very greatly appreciated. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.